Frank Schuck, my 15 minutes of fame. My 15 minutes of fame. Frank Schuck.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, when the Bergen Performing Arts Center decided to reopen after the pandemic, they scheduled a gala concert with two superstars, Beyonce and Taylor Swift. I was in a wheelchair at the time because I had fractured my hip, but I just sold one of my companies to Google for $80 million, so my generous contribution to the PAC assured me a great place to see the concert, so my wheelchair was placed in the front row, right against the stage. When the two stars came out on the stage, there was tremendous applause. But when the applause died down, I heard Beyonce say to Taylor, "I can't keep my eyes off that man in the wheelchair." Taylor said, "I can't either." They started singing their fan favorite songs, and all the time looking at me with seductive eyes, pursing their lips and blowing kisses. Suddenly, they beckoned for me to come up on the stage. I pointed to my wheelchair, and four burly ushers lifted me up onto the stage, right between the two divas. They started singing very romantic songs directed just at me, totally ignoring the audience. They caressed my upper body and whispered in my ear, "Your body is like a rock. Your hair is like silk." During the intermission, we sipped champagne in the dressing room. They stood on either side of me. They wanted to know all about Frank Schuck. So I told them. I recited a poem I had written for my wife, Sheila. I told them about the joys of being a Toastmaster and gave them my philosophy on relationships. People will remember how you made them feel. I've been married to my wife for over 50 years, and I've never been unfaithful. But never before have I been sandwiched between the two of the most beautiful. Fortunately, the stage manager came out and said, 5 minutes to second act. The divas begged me to stay for the after party, but I said, I had to play the old man card. I said, if I'm not home by 11 o'clock for prune juice and meds, I'll be a hell to pay tomorrow. Well, the next morning I woke up from what I thought was an amazing dream. But when I went online, I realized it was really happening. The news headline was, divas give inspired second half performance requiring 9 encores. When I went on social media, Beyonce made an announcement that Frank Schuck was her male muse. She had already been inspired to write a song about me, and the title was, "Make Mine an Older Man and Let Me Call Him Frankie." Taylor made a similar announcement, and her song about me was, "Older Men Score More Than Tight Ends." The internet exploded. Everybody was Googling Frank Schuck. People all over the world were professing their love for Frank Schuck, never having the pleasure of meeting Frank Schuck. The media was calling it the Schuck syndrome. I was offered a talk show on CBS. I decided to go see my grandchildren in a Maserati convertible that Taylor had sent over as a gift. And when I pulled out of the garage, the paparazzi was everywhere. People were lining the street screaming, "Frank Schuck! Frank Schuck," like I was a rock star. When I passed the high school, a bunch of girls saw me and they started screaming like their grandmothers screamed for Elvis and the Beatles. The next day, the two divas came to my apartment to negotiate more time with me, with my wife, Sheila. After their presentation, Sheila got up with a Catholic school singing voice and said, "Stop in the name of love. I'll never share my man." As the two divas were leaving, Beyonce said, "Frank, we'll never forget you. You set a very high bar for men in our lives." As I hugged Sheila close to me, I said, The only thing I want to be famous for is loving you. Cut us chair.